Hello and welcome back. I'm Randy Bueller. I'm joined by Kevin Crone. We're missing, however, the man of the hour, Montolio, aka Andy Marketon, is having a camera issue. Does not appear like we're going to be able to get him on commentary tonight, which is too bad because he's just crushing it.
No doubt. He really just demolished me just now. I'd like to think that I can put up a little bit more game post sideboard than that in that matchup, but it was not in my mulligans. That's one of those really frustrating, you're mulliganing down to just trying to find ley line, basically, and you don't hit, and then you realize, can I just keep the 7 I had? It was way better than these 4, right?
Right.
And I was agonizing about going to 3. The odds were so low, and also I looked at what I had, and it had all my mana, all my colors. I could cast any spell in my deck at that point, ley line notwithstanding. So I thought, what the heck, my odds are super low anyway. I'll run it. It's just that's the rub of running ley line. Sometimes you simply can't draw into it when you need it.
Yeah, and your deck was better set up for that matchup than Matt's. You had more sideboard than he had. I actually thought Seth had the best chance, but I mean, I guess he forced Andy to top deck to beat him in game 2, right? At this point, though, this is going to be Andreas Peterson for the 3rd week in a row calling the 3-0 player.
Hey, it's not over yet. Not over yet.
It's over. Sorry. If I have a way to place a wager on him to 3-0 at this point, yeah, I would be interested in having that conversation.
Well, fair enough. Fair enough. I do agree that Andy's deck selection here was just completely stellar, and he has a sizable advantage to 3-0 in this pod. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think he's 2-0 with his easiest match left. I mean, you're right. It's not 100%.
Yeah.
It starts with a 9.
I think we have a really interesting matchup here, though, because
I agree.
The 2 Jeskai Xerox decks going against his humans deck is a really interesting matchup that could have a lot of interplay.
Completely agree. Yeah, this is the first match of the night was amazing. Like your match against Matt, man, you're going to enjoy going back and watching that. I'm probably going to rewatch it, even though I could see the cards the whole time. That was just an awesome match of vintage. All 3 games I thought had interesting things going on. And I do expect more of that. I mean, it's no longer a mirror match as you and Matt play against Seth, but I think that makes it even that notch more interesting, right? Seth's got an interesting game plan that lines up interestingly against you guys. I mean, what's your read on the matchup?
My read is that this humans deck can have some really unbeatable openings. Cavern plus a Mox into a string of uncounterable threats is very hard for either Matterai to deal with. It's so hard, in fact, that a Mox on the play, like if Seth's on the play and he says Mox Jet, both Matt and I should very seriously be considering Force of Willing that Mox.
Wow.
Because of how powerful the turn 1 Cavern into a 2-drop is.
Wow.
Now, we can get, both of us, Matt and I, have draws that can overwhelm the humans deck, right? If we just have the turn 1 Plow plus Ancestral or Time Walk, right, we can snowball into a vintagey advantage. Yeah. But it's pretty draw dependent, and you have to understand how each one of your cards really plays in the matchup. It's really tough.
Is it even a vintagey advantage? It feels like it's more of this, like, classic battle between beatdown and control, right? He's the aggro deck. He's the beatdown. You guys have plows and some card drawing and just need to stay alive, right?
You're right about the classic nature of it, but I use the word vintagey because I think because Matt and I can't actually play a control role against this deck very well. Okay. You can do it old school style just by Swords to Plowshares, Snapcaster Swords to Plowshares, right? You can prolong the game that way, but we only have so many removal spells, and he doesn't even have snaps.
So you run out of it.
We can't actually play the classic, like, I can't be the deck against this humans deck. Okay. The real advantage I have is get a little tempo and then open the door with Ancestral into Gush, into Jace the Mind Sculptor or something like that. Yeah, that's my path to victory.
Yeah, you need a mentor or a planeswalker, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, well, our players are ready. Let's go see what happens. Esper humans against Jeskai Control. All right, here we go. Matt Sperling on the top has a Black Lotus. That part's exciting, but not really anything to force out with it. Seth does not have a Mox. Did have a Cavern, but he decided he needed to mulligan because he could do actual nothing on the first turn. And these 6 are completely unkeepable.
Oh, well, that's rough for Seth.
Careful what you wish for. Now he's got a Mox. Wow, I wish he would go back to that 7 if he could at this point.
He has properly identified his the need to put the pedal to the metal in this matchup.
Are you sure though? Like the 7,
The 7 was good. I think
it
it was
had a
keepable.
cavern. Like it had
Yeah.
a cavern, another land, and like 4 or 5 bears.
It's so rough to just go cavern go in this matchup, though. It opens the door for so much for Matt to take advantage of.
Right. But I mean, sometimes Matt's going to have a draw where, it's Flusterstorms and Mental Missteps, which do actual nothing, right?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And again, Seth kind of gets the quote unquote drawback of being on the play. He doesn't get to know whether Matt's keeping his 7 or not with his mulligan decision, similar to
Sure.
how he had it against Andy. In both cases, you just have to do the right thing and make a diligent choice. But unfortunately for Seth, he's getting maximum punished here because he doesn't have Ancestral, but he does have multiple restricted cards here. And also the Force of Wills in his hand, he gets to get rid of this Pyroblast. Well, he doesn't have to. He could keep the
Yeah,
Pyroblast.
I mean, there's enough blue bears. It's all right.
Yeah.
He's seen
But
the Meddling
still.
Mage, in fact. Like, Matt led with Gataxian Probe, so
Oh, absolutely. He knows
has
about the
perfect
mage.
information.
He also knows that Saffron cannot cast that mage on turn 1 with any combination of draws. Yeah, there's no way he could. He could draw Ancestral
Fair.
Recall, but he can't cast it. He could draw Black Lotus, but what that would do would be to play Bob and Revoker, which is not that
All
good on
right.
this board.
Wow. So Matt sacked his Black Lotus for blue. He got to Brainstorm, then shuffle away 2 cards with his fetch land, then cast Ancestral. Still has a blue floating for a Preordain.
Now, if Matt can find some haymaker like... Yeah,
does he get to Treasure Cruise this turn? I think he would. He can, but he doesn't want to discard. So he probably... No, he's going to do it anyway.
He'd be okay discarding that Mental Misstep, at least, I think.
It's true.
That's a little aggressive. I think I might not have done so there, because he is going to end up discarding some valuable cards here. Misstep,
no, he said 8 cards. It's only the Misstep. It's a blue card or a land.
It's a blue card, though, yeah. That Strip Mine is actually deceptively valuable, though, both for disruptive purposes, but also as a way to fight Cavern.
All right. Seth did find a land with his Scry, so he does get to play a turn 1 creature. This is why he took those 2 mulligans, is his deck has nothing to do on the first turn except for a single copy of Ancestral Recall, so he needs a Mox. He's some sort of Mox to start casting those bears on the first turn. Found one, went for the Dark Confidant. Matt, of course, had the Force of Will to cover.
We're in an interesting place here. Matt played a flurry of spells on the first turn, and the net result really was a full hand, and he just had 3 mana sources, basically. But it's not the kind of full hand he really wants. The swords he just drew was nice. The strip is nice. It's disruptive, but it's not a long-term game plan.
He found a strip, and he found multiple Force of Wills, so he's got time to draw more. Matt's deck is quite light on action, though. Like you mentioned before we got here, he doesn't play Snapcaster Mage. Mm-hmm. So he's killing with a single copy of Monastery Mentor in a bunch of his game, right? He can win with Planeswalkers. He can attack with Lavinia 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's the end.
Wow, this balance looks real awful right now. Balance is actually one of Matt's great weapons for this matchup. It can really buy back tempo. He can let Seth get 2-3 creatures out there, and as long as Balance can get on the stack, it's pretty great.
How is this game not over? But you're right, it just isn't, is it?
Matt hasn't found the cards he needs to actually end it. And now, look at that Caracas, by the way. Strip Mine's gone. Remember what happened with Caracas in our game 3? That Caracas removes all non-mentor creatures in Matt's deck from the board.
The Lavinias and the Vryn's Prodigies.
So now it's... And Time Walk's in Matt's graveyard, so he can't play Jace Time Walk to flip it. Now his game plan is Mentor and or Dak Faden.
Note that the Revoker just named Dak Faden.
Yeah.
Sorts of Plowshares can take care of it, but still.
Revoker is easy for Matt to remove, unfortunately for Seth, but
he has to.
Yeah, he has to. This game's going to go for a while unless Matt can string together something that finds him Mentor quickly.
Yeah, this is crazy. Mm-hmm. Matt drew 1 million cards, but he didn't actually do anything.
Mm-hmm. This is the trick. This is the way this matchup can go. These Jeskai decks have a lot of churn and a lot of selection, but not a lot of ways to finish the game.
You set this up, and I apologize, but I'm not sure I believed you. I believe you now. I see your point.
It can turn on a dime, though. See, Matt could draw Preordain next turn and Preordain into Dig Through Time and dig into... Like, this game could end in 2 turns, potentially, It's just that these mid-game Jeskai draws are heavily draw dependent.
Yeah.
You get yourself and control yourself into situations like this where you've sculpted your draw, you have the tools to prolong the game, and Matt has successfully done that. He's not going to lose anytime soon. He just might not win anytime soon either. Interesting that he's left a couple of fetch lands in play here. I'm not sure why he left 2 in play. He might be activating 1 right now. Because he's already played Brainstorm this game and exiled it. So there's not much shuffle equity left to be had.
He's put bad cards on the bottom. I think he doesn't want to shuffle the bad cards from the bottom in.
Okay, reasonable.
Like he preordained, I believe, since he's last shuffled.
Yeah. So Matt's going to get paid off for keeping this Pyroblast here. Obviously he knew about the Meddling Mage when the time came, but he gets a lot of value here because it basically sucks up the best part of this Black Lotus from Seth. Yes, Seth gets blue and gets to cast another Revoker, but that's not nearly so good.
Yeah, his mana was a little awkward there with the Ruby. He couldn't cast the Lavinia and the Meddling Mage. Like there was no way to make 2 white and 2 blue.
Yeah. You talked about it with Seth during the pregame about how the off-color Moxen are still important for this deck, but they certainly have a drawback.
Yeah, Lavinia and Meddling Mage, I think, are those the only 2 creatures you can't cast? It might be.
Well, I mean, he's Esper, right? So the Emerald and the Ruby are the weak draws.
No, understood. But I mean, so many of his creatures have colorless in the cost.
Well, so here's Dak Faden. Now this creates an interesting
time to Cloud
here.
Revoker.
Yeah. Now, if you're Matt, do you take this Ruby?
Yes, okay. I do.
Seth was supposed to tap it there, but I don't think he's going to be punished for that, really.
Oof.
Okay, now we're off to the races because Matt has a serious advantage from this point on.
Yeah, now he's got a Planeswalker. Now he's looking at 3 cards a turn.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, JVP is not long for this world.
Well, look, Seth's new to Vintage, right? You got to test the guy. You know how your cards work? He
chose not to do it.
He should have bounced JVP and stuff.
Yeah. He might still see the line right here and now. Oh, he didn't.
Oh, wow.
That's too bad for Seth. Yep. Well, you do have to play the cards.
Yeah. Caracas to bounce JVP would mean Matt would never get to actually flip it. I mean, I think Seth is mostly thinking about game 2 at this point, right? Trying to make sure he's comfortable with the sideboard plan. He doesn't expect to be able to beat the Dak Faden, but he's certainly not going to beat Dak plus JVP.
That's a very good point. Matt still has an uphill
Matt's like, do I play the Lavinia into this Caracas also?
Right, exactly. I don't think so. I'm fairly certain that Seth understands the Caracas Lavinia action because it's a little more in your face in Vintage right now. But there you go. Yeah, see, Matt discarded Lavinia. He doesn't even want to test those waters.
Right. JVP's the weird one because you think of that as a Planeswalker or a creature, you don't. Yeah. But it is a legendary creature, and there's Monastery Mentor. So that will pretty quickly put game 1 out of its misery.
So you see how Dak plus a little bit of search got right into JVP, which shouldn't have lived, but it was only going to be a turn later anyway that this Mentor came out to play.
Yep. All right. Now, does sideboarding change much here?
I don't think that Seth has much material to bring in other than these Orzhov Pontiffs.
Yeah, he likes the Pontiffs.
Yeah, and they're not even that good.
Right. They beat Mentor is what they beat, but that's about it.
Yeah, and he did some good metagaming, I think, here, given that it's Matt Sperling, and Matt Sperling has recently had a great deal of success with Young Pyromancer. So I think that Seth's choice was very good and totally defensible.
Yeah.
But he really is getting very little incremental value here by Orzhov Pontiff. Now, he could get into some interesting situations vis-a-vis doubling up on one, but it looks like he's only bringing in a single one. Yeah. I think I agree with his choice. He brought out Null Rod, which makes sense. Null Rod is only minorly disruptive in this matchup. Yeah. Not really worth a card. So now you see Matt bringing in Pithing Needle, which plays multiple roles here against both Wasteland and Caracas. We talked when we were on commentary about the fact that it wasn't really worth a card in our matchup because Caracas is such a corner case in his eyes, and I think I agree with him. But here it plays multiple roles, and being able to just proactively turn off Wastelands can really help Matt in this matchup.
He also has cards he needs to take out, right? His missteps are awful.
Absolutely, he does. Yep.
Oh, does Matt only have 2 missteps? I didn't notice that about his list.
He's on 3. Yeah. So it's notable that he is leaving in Pyroblast and bringing in the third one from his sideboard because so many of Seth's creatures are blue, plus the 2 restricted cards.
Makes sense.
So here Seth is on a no mox draw again with a cavern, just like his first 7. Look at the snap keep. Yeah, he doesn't want to replay of game 1, and I think he made the right choice.
Yeah, I think cavern plus another land on the play. I think you can afford to say 1 land go.
I think you can as well, especially given how disruptive Kite Sail Freebooters are, which is kind of nice.
That's true. Maybe he likes this assortment of creatures better than the first hand.
Yeah. And he's got Dark Confidant too. It'd be interesting to see how he sequences.
The balance.
Oh, yeah, that balance is so huge. But hey, Freebooter can take it.
True. All right, here's Freebooter. Uncounterable off the Cavern of Souls. Gets a look at the hand.
I think it's balance or no here, right? I don't think there's really any other play.
I think it's balance. I mean, Cavern makes the Force of Will kind of irrelevant. Try to play games with the Brainstorm, but no, the balance is just so ridiculous against you. And there's no other answer to the Freebooter in your hand. You might like to get Dak. You can go get Dak with the next one.
And honestly, Dak is not that big of a threat for Matt in this matchup when Seth can land and keep some creatures, right? You don't need Revoker. You don't need to freebooter it. You can just attack it.
That's fair.
It's a totally reasonable plan if Seth can maintain a board presence.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that Ancestral was a pretty spicy draw.
Not a bad one.
How do you sequence here if you're Matt? Main phase Brainstorm?
I'm not Ancestraling right away.
Right.
Yeah,
I think Ancestral on Seth's turn? Looks like neither right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're both instants. I think you say go. I think you get the information. I think he's probably planning to Brainstorm, put 2 back, shuffle the bad ones away, Ancestral.
Totally reasonable, especially if he finds a Plow or a Bolt here, which with the Brainstorm is decent odds, with Brainstorm plus Ancestral is fantastic odds.
And Seth, having seen Matt's hand last turn, says, I don't need to freebooter you. I'll just play this Dark Confidant. He also knows the Ancestral, he would have done the other way around. But
well, he also knows that the Brainstorm's there, and the Brainstorm can really counteract a second freebooter there.
That's a great point. Monastery Mentor in the house.
There's Mystical. You think Mystical? Well, it's either Ancestral or Mystical here. I'm not sure which I lend myself toward in this particular situation. Matt just wants the quality. Oh, and he's rewarded.
Gets a Strip Mine for the Cavern, but I think you just tap out for Mentor and then Gitaxian Probe. What does SaffronOlive do about Monastery Mentor?
I think it's Reflector Mage or no.
Right, he basically loses. He's got 1 Reflector Mage, maybe 2.
Yep, and even that is not. There's really nothing wrong with that. Oh, Palace Jailer. He has Palace Jailer, but he's 2 mana away from that, and you can pretty much discount that.
Yeah, just freaking tap out for Mentor.
I have a feeling that Matt is reading over the deck list now, thinking, is there anything
how do I get punished for this?
Yeah.
Mentor is so unfair to deck like this. You saw how the first game played out. It took forever. Matt just sat there and removed some stuff, played some cantrips. Now all of a sudden, this single card is going to allow him, I think, to go wider than the Humans deck.
You know what? We forgot one thing. It's the Swords to Plowshares. There's the 1 sword.
Oh, he plays 1 copy of Swords to Plowshares.
And it's right there in his hand. I didn't notice it earlier because it has the alternate art that I'm not big on recognizing. But now Matt sees it and he thinks, oh, dang it. I still think Matt is advantaged in this game. But we'll see how it plays out here because he still has
1 Swords to Plowshares, 1 Palace Jailer, 1 Reflector Mage.
Yeah.
Seth had basically 3 outs to this Mentor.
And the Reflector Mage is not even really an out.
Fair. Well, Reflector Mage with Kite Sail Freebooter, maybe. Set it up. Bounce it and take it. He's going to clear a path for his Plow with this Kite Sail Freebooter. It's the plan.
Yeah.
Take the Bolt, I guess. Don't really want to get balanced.
Well, you get balanced either way because of Mystical Tutor. Yeah, the thing is, this plow is nice, but Seth now can't avoid a balance. But ironically, the monk that's going to be left in play after this creates interesting tension with balance.
True.
And because Seth has flying creatures that he can still press the attack with, he can just avoid that monk getting into combat with his creatures.
Yeah, it's
Now,
funny.
really,
Seth is
yeah,
the one with the card drawing engine this game. That Dark Confidant's going to do some work potentially.
yeah. So it's Matt's upkeep.
Yeah,
No
he's
surprise
debating
here.
whether to mystical.
Hmm
What do you think he gets?
He has plenty of possible lines here. See, the thing is, he has multiple cantrips in hand. He can just cantrip and see what he sees. Because if he sees Plow, if he sees JVP, like, there's just so many live draws here.
Yeah, he did in fact decline the mystical. Just went straight to his main phase and cast Ponder.
And also, this offense that I'm pretty sure that Seth recognizes the tension with the monk, and he wants to keep his Dark Confidant online naturally. So we're incentivized in this board position to only be attacking with Kite Sail freebooters, which means Matt's not really under dire pressure. And there's the JVP right there. JVP is incredibly good against a stymied or reduced attack from Seth like this. If you can get Telepath Unbound flipped, it just blanks one of these freebooters for a turn or two. It really slows Seth down a lot.
You say that, but I mean, Seth's hand is a Thalia's Lieutenant or a Kumbal next turn.
That's true. And Matt does know, he knows about the Lieutenant and the Revoker, I believe. So he knows that if he runs JVP out here, that it will probably get revoked and he'll have to dedicate his mystical. Oh, but he just found Fragmentize. He would have had to dedicate his mystical to removing the Revoker. Now he's got Fragmentize for that problem. I still feel like Matt is favored from this situation.
Does Orzhov Pontiff do something cool on this board?
Well,
kills a monk's token, right?
Well, it doesn't because of Mystical Tutor, unfortunately.
Matt's going to respond by triggering Prowess. Wait, this is vintage, right? Yeah. You're saying SaffronOlive is going to cast an Orzhov Pontiff and Matt's going to save his one toughness creature by triggering its Prowess.
Seth should be considering it, right? There's plenty of cards that Matt could play off of this. Granted, the list is kind of short, and one of them's under Kite Sail Freeboot, and there's actually two of them in the graveyard.
Yeah, I'm not sure killing the monk is actually the most important thing going on.
No, it really isn't. And that list is actually it's actually kind of low right now. It's second. Oh, there's no second lightning bolt. No, he only has the one lightning bolt. Oh, it's Pyroblast. Yeah, the list includes Pyroblast, which is actually kind of a long list.
Yeah, I think Comball is the plan here. He's going to Revoker for JVP, of course.
Yeah, he wants to revoke that JVP. He knows that JVP is strong and disruptive.
You're right.
Interesting to see how Matt conducts this turn right here. This is pivotal because he knows he has access to Jace Telepath, and the Telepath has a buffet of options in the graveyard. And he's going to have access to, if he wants it, his balance again, right here and now.
Yeah, Matt has a lot of control over this.
Yeah.
Mysticals for Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me very much. Interesting that he only has one white. What are we swordsing? He's going to get back his bolt. I was going to say something about this. It seemed a little silly, but it is a reasonable line. And he can bolt the Revoker. Yep.
Sure.
The thing about Kite Sail freebooters is they do kind of offer up your opponent's cards on a platter, so to speak. Yeah, this Telepath Unbound is very strong in this situation.
Wow, he just discarded the Strip Mine. He's like, yeah, I don't care about Cavern. I've got infinite removal spells lined up now.
Yeah.
Maybe not infinite, but enough. Flashes back the Ancestral. Monk's up to 4/4. That's exciting. Now he wishes he discarded Lavinia because he's got a second one. But hey, it's a blue card. Pretty good turn. And he just didn't bother with the balance.
Well,
he knows he can't get it to 0. And
it was a good turn, but unfortunately he has exposed his Telepath Unbound to getting killed here, and there's nothing he can do about it now. The line he's taken is vulnerable to exactly Orzhov Pontiff. Oh, I strike that. There's one play he has. He could actually force the uncounterable Pontiff to keep his monk. Yeah. It's basically force of will to keep Telepath Unbound in play. Well, he's off that line now. So I would expect Seth to go Pontiff, kill the monk,
Dark
attack into
Confidant.
attack with
Wasteland
Dark
was
Confidant. Yeah. Wasteland, not a very good draw, but
well, I think SaffronOlive just wants lands. He wants to start being able to cast multiple spells a turn. That's what he wants to
I
be
agree
able
with
to
you
do.
there. Absolutely.
He's got Dark Confidant. He's actually up cards on that at this point.
Mm-hmm.
If he can get them out of his hand and onto the battlefield.
You're right. A 2-creature turn next turn would be pretty potent. But this turn is going to be really strong because he's going to be able to kill the Telepath Unbound, and if he wants, he can chip away at Dak down to 3, which I think is a reasonable plan.
I mean, he has multiple ways to kill Telepath Unbound, right? He can follow his Lieutenant just to make the freebooter 2 power.
Oh, you know what? You're absolutely right. I didn't even see that line. I was so
you need to play more modern. That's what I'm
so stuck on. Yeah, I was so stuck on the board control value of killing this monk.
Right, but Lieutenant lets him play 2 spells.
It does, and the Lieutenant line might be superior in the sense that it leaves the monk in play, so the balance going back into Matt's hand is not so game-breaking.
Right. All right, so he's going to Meddling Mage first. This one is not uncounterable. Mm-hmm. He's setting up, I believe, for the Lieutenant.
What do you think he's naming here? A removal spell?
Yeah, I think it's a removal spell. I don't think he knows anything about Matt's hand at this point.
No, not anymore.
Yeah, it's funny. The other one drawback I thought to Matt's line last turn was he didn't use the Fragmentize for anything relevant.
Well, he couldn't. He had a single white. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, he didn't have to Mystical for the Plow. Anyway, Swords to Plowshares. Swords to Plowshares was the name with the Meddling Mage. Here's Thalia's Lieutenant, and Flying Freebooter is, I guess Dark Confidant can attack here. The monk is going to chump. Matt is setting up for a balance, he hopes. JVP dies to the Flying Freebooter. Dak, however, is still alive.
Well, it's on Gush plus Cruise to find a way to remove Freebooter, which I like those odds, but it's not a sure thing.
So what's the sequencing with Cruise, Gush, and Dak? Cruise first?
I think you just Cruise first just because it's only 1 mana and it doesn't disrupt your mana production. Matt has so many hands in play.
Pithing Needle, Dak, Faden, and Tundra do not get the job done, but they are... other than they give him things he can discard with Dak and feel fine about.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, he needs to fight. You're right. He needs to remove Freebooter right now.
Yeah.
And he can't use the Plow because of the Meddling Mage.
So I think we're gushing. Yep, that makes sense.
That Meddling Mage was really smart. How many Lightning Bolts does Matt play?
It was good because Matt had been through so many removal spells already. There's only a single bolt. I was checking. There's only a single bolt in this set.
And it's in the graveyard.
Yeah. And he's on 4 plows. Yeah, you're right. That Meddling Mage was a very good choice. Much better than my Orzhov Pontiff suggestion.
Well, it's Thalia Lieutenant tech. It's like from some other format that I'm not sure you play.
I do not play Modern. I have not. I don't ever expect to. However, I am familiar with the card and what it does. I just have a blind spot there. So, very interesting. Can't see all the cards in Matt's hand here, but I'm starting to wonder what line he's playing toward now.
I mean, we can see 9 of the 10 in his hand, unless the one off screen.
It feels like JVP. If it's not Monastery Mentor, which it can't be, then I think it's JVP at this point.
What? He's going to play another Dak and go searching. Mental Misstep was the 10th card off screen. He has no choice but to go fishing with Dak Faden. Finds a Dig Through Time.
Dig Through Time is a strong card.
What is he? He needs a Time Walk? His Mentor's gone. He needs to clear this board. He's not going to. He can't win the game quickly. It's just not a thing that his deck does at this point.
Yeah, not at all.
Not without
JVP is an acceptable play in my eyes here. Undisrupted, JVP can flashback Lightning Bolt next turn and get the Kite Sail freebooter in. Then balance is a cure-all of sorts. Noteworthy too that then Telepath Unbound would have access to a second balance too, which is rough for Seth.
Yeah. All right. JVP and hope he survives this turn.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Another Thalia's Lieutenant is very close to lethal. Seth doesn't actually have one.
Yeah.
So yeah, this JVP.
Matt does take a beating here this turn.
He takes a beating, but
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well,
you make a great point though. If assuming that Jace,
and he can kill Dak,
survives, right? Then that's the thing that Seth has to figure out. Do I kill the Dak or pressure Matt's life total?
Yeah.
Combo is
don't
also
forget
life
combo
total
too.
pressure.
Yeah, I haven't done the math on if. So it's assuming that the lieutenant gets blocked by JVP, then that is 8 damage coming in, putting Matt to 4. That makes Comball lethal. How interesting. Oh, and we've got the Orzhov Pontiff to pump the team here too, if we want it. That is
Orzhov Pontiff pumps the team. Jace has to chump block?
No,
he's just dead, right?
Oh, he does have to chump. You're right.
Jace has to chump block, and now what does he do?
Don't chump a 2.
Well, no, it's not a 2 anymore. It's a 4.
It was okay. Sorry, the screen was too fuzzy for me to read.
Matt Sperling on 1 life. I don't know how he gets out of this now. Super well played by Seth.
Yeah, very, very well done by Seth. I think he still has an out to dig into what?
Time
I'm
Walk?
trying to think of what he sideboarded. Oh, he could dig into Pyroblast, dig Pyroblast,
Meddling Mage.
Meddling Mage, plow the freebooter, and then balance.
Yep. Yeah, this dig through time needs to be really good.
Well, I mean, I don't know how. I can't remember exactly what he did, but I think it was all 4. No, it's only 3. All 3 Pyros post board, and I don't think he's gone through one this game. I don't remember. He's got a lot of exiled cards. Might have been 1, but I do think his odds are decent here. Also, there's only 17 cards left in his library.
He's only got 17 cards left in his library?
Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah, there's 2 Pyroblasts in this. So he found the Pyroblast.
I think he just...
Well, what's the other card you take? He decided to plow for the other card.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think he's actually live here. Yeah, I think
he is.
We're going to see balance resolve here.
I think you're right.
Now he's thinking, can Seth say anything about this at instant speed? And the answer is no.
Interesting. I wonder if the Orzhov Pontiff is, I guess, in last turn. He could have played Comball instead of Pontiff.
Mm-hmm.
By playing the Pontiff, he dealt 3 damage.
Well, and he got rid of JVP. Yeah.
Was Matt not obliged to chump block already?
No, he wasn't. He could have been at 4 with Comball in play, though. Which I think was equally good for Seth. Because he knows that Matt had to go through 2 spells to get to balance.
Right.
In order to get balance on the stack, he would have to have lethal Comball triggers.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I wonder if Comball would have worked out better.
I think the Comball line was probably deterministic, actually. Not so much that it would have ended the game that turn, but it would deterministically prevented Matt from going to balance.
Right, because the only way Matt gets to balance is if he first kills Meddling Mage, then kills Kreitzel Freebooter, then casts balance. So he can't clear this board without casting 3 spells. Yeah, I think Comball would have done more damage than Orzhov Pontiff.
As it stands, here we are, balance having resolved, and Lavinia's in play. Seth still has plenty of good plays here,
he has uncounterable Comball.
Especially this uncounterable Comball, yeah.
Uncounterable Comball is a big game. Like, he got him to 1 and knew that he could untap and play uncounterable Comball. So maybe Seth was just a step ahead of, like, even if balance happens, I have uncounterable Comball. What on earth does Matt Sperling do about uncounterable Comball?
He should plow his own Lavinia right here.
He can plow his own Lavinia as a response to unlock the ability to cast a spell.
Yep.
And Matt saw it. Hats off to him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is going to work, but he found the line that wasn't dead on the spot. Second Cavern means Dark Confidant is here. Mox Pearl's not going to help. What can Dak find? This has been a cool game. Lavinia doesn't get it done.
No, that's game. Also, it's worth noting that Matt was navigating this game to stay alive, but look how many loyalty counters are on that Dak. Dak was a turn away from going Emblem, which is also a key part of his strategy, I think, in this matchup, if he can make the game go long enough in exactly the way he just did.
I mean, all the things that steal things basically just kill them.
Yeah, but it matters. It matters when 4 of them are swords to plowshares. And it also matters when they are like Pyroblast against uncounterable threats.
Yeah, the Pyroblasts are the good ones. But Matt Sperling at the end of that game, by the way, had 12 cards in his library.
Yeah.
He basically had and of those 12 cards, by the way, 5 went on the bottom with Dig Through Time. So he had essentially his entire library that game and couldn't get it done. That was a crazy cool game.
He played valiantly. And Seth drew a nice selection of threats throughout the mid game there, thanks to that Dark Conf.
Yeah, he didn't draw lands.
Well, I mean, he ended up with 5 lands in play at the end. He had a steady stream of quality threats, though. But that's how this deck is constructed.
I mean, he still had creatures in his hand at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Dark Confidant it was a Dark Confidant win, or it was like the plow for the Mentor was the key to the game, right? Matt did play a Monastery Mentor that would have won Matt the game, I believe, if Seth didn't answer it on the spot. He had the answer to the Mentor, and then the Dark Confidant was just Matt couldn't deal with all that value.
So this draw by Matt is one of the agonizing sort for this matchup, because it's just like the last game for the first several turns. This draw just prolongs the game. It doesn't win the game. It just means he can answer the first few things that Seth does. But if he doesn't get the brainstorm into ancestral kind of draw 2 or 3 turns from now, he's just going to be out of cards when Seth plays some other uncounterable threat.
Yeah, Swords to Plowshare for the Thalia means we get to keep playing. No third land. You can't cast Lavinia off Tundra plus Mox Ruby, so can't cast the Dak. What, he's going to preemptively Pithing Needle? Yeah, Pithing Needle Wasteland's actually really important right here.
Yes, it is. That
Wasteland is going to do some damage. I mean, Revoker on Ruby is going to do some damage anyway, but like if he goes waste your Tundra and Revoker your Ruby, we're just done.
Yeah, at that point, Seth's just playing shops.
All right, well, I guess he gets to cast 2 spells. He gets a Dark Confidant and the Revoker. It's pretty good. Matt probably needs to Force of Will this to defend his Max Ruby. It's your fault for not being a human for Phyrexian Revoker.
Interesting choice of what to pitch there too.
Lavinia, not Dak.
Lavinia, yeah.
All right, last game, this Dark Confidant generated so much value that Matt could not recover, and Matt doesn't have a third land for those 2 Dak Fadens.
That draw by Matt right there could be the pivot point. Yeah.
Second Wasteland. That Pithing Needle is insane here. Just the defensive, I don't want to get wrecked by Wasteland.
Yeah.
Time Walk's going to get Pyroblasted. That makes sense. Think you go ahead and play your Lieutenant. Sure.
Decent clock we've got going here.
He needs to find a creature next turn, does Seth. He gets two draws. If they're both blanks, Matt can still draw out of this.
Well, Matt's deck can do what it does and dig him into balance here thanks to this deck.
Or a plow. It's not nothing, but Matt's out of mana, so Confidant gets to draw another card.
But paying 4 mana to gain 4 life and just turn your other deck into a plow is not a very good exchange at this point.
Oh, and there's a freebooter!
Especially given the freebooter, yep.
Freebooter is going to steal the plow. Revoker is going to turn the Ruby off. We even get a Lieutenant trigger. I think Seth kills Dak here rather than taking a third of Matt's life.
I think that's the right choice.
And so does he.
This clock that you've got on the table is so fast now.
Yeah.
That you just want to limit Matt's options.
And no red mana for Matt, too. The Revoker, not only is he down in mana, but he's down his only red source. All right. He's got color back, but basically Matt needs to top deck balance next turn or he's dead?
Either
That's
balance or a modest string of cantrips that become balance.
Yeah, he's got to find a balance, is my read on this. He's going to take 8 by my count. Down to 6. What does the top of the deck say, Matt Sperling? Sure, shuffle. May as well thin.
Yep.
Force of will. We're done. SaffronOlive is going to take his first win. 1-1 with this Esper Humans deck so far. He's threatening. Matt Sperling with the bluff. Come on. The guy's brand new to the format. You're going to bluff balance on him?
Oh, we need to hear after this game how effective that bluff was there at the end.
Did we get a hard skip? He's been top decked once.
That's right.
God, against Andy, the one turn, just no spinning darkness, one draw step. But no balance for Matt Sperling. And
show by Seth.
Absolutely. Seth, that deck looked great.
Yeah.
Can you beat that?
Yes, but I have a feeling the result could go exactly the way that went, basically.
You're probably a little better set up to play against Seth, right?
Well, Snapcaster Mages helped this matchup a fair bit.
Spell Queller feels relevant too.
Yeah, it does. And I don't have balance, which is big.
Okay.
But I do have Jace the Mind Sculptor. I do have a little bit more removal. I do have Subterranean Tremors in my sideboard. So I'm bringing a little bit of different answers to bear here.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, good luck to you. Hopefully we get another fun match. That one was certainly a joy to watch.
Agreed.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Vintage Super League right after